First, the caveat, I am not an RIA, so I don't do portfolio advisory work. Second, please subscribe, please hit the bell icon. More and more people need to see such videos. There is no glamour, no charts, no nothing, no flashy things, no what share to buy tomorrow morning or today evening, nothing of that sort, but a lot of gyan. I review portfolios for friends, right? So don't send me a portfolio, I am very unlikely to do a review. But here was a case of a person who had was perhaps doing his review for the first time. Accidentally I had met his brother, and his brother had made some investments through somebody, some index funds and some things, and a lot of money lying unused. But he said, you must talk to my brother and have a look at his portfolio. So I had the fortune or misfortune to go and meet his brother, and his brother sent me his portfolio. It took him almost 10 days to send me his whole portfolio, and he said he was in a hurry. He did not have all the details, and even after he sent me all the details, he had missed some things, right? So all in his head was different. His version of truth was different from the real truth, and my version of his truth, right? So truth can have various versions. So when I was looking through his portfolio, I realized that there were many mistakes in his portfolio, and not one of those mistakes was a killer, right? Each mistake was small, but together it was a disaster for his portfolio. Here was a guy who's rich, who was running a small scale business, and let's start by saying his net worth was in the north of 100 crores, not including his business. So money was not really going to be a problem. Whatever he did, he would have enough, but he was being advised by a couple of banks, and one of those banks had referred him to some private wealth guy. And altogether his portfolio first of all had some very expensive and very illiquid portfolios, right? Portfolios in the sense portions of his portfolio, right? So what was it? It was a lot of private equity. Nothing wrong with private equity. Private equity is fantastic. You need private equity to create companies. Amazon and Google must have been created with a lot of private equity in the start. All those benefits of private equity, blah blah blah, is understandable. However, was private equity sensible for a person who was doing his own business? Nobody had asked what does he do. In the sense, they knew that he was doing some business. Nobody asked what his wife does, whether his mother is dependent on him, whether what his children are doing, does he have children. People didn't know. The people giving him advice on investing did not know. Now, if you have invested in private equity, your private equity can take 10 years to actually come back to you, right? During those 10 years, you really don't know what's happening, because they can keep giving you reviews saying, oh, it's doing fabulously, then saying it is doing badly, then they say next round of funding is happening. So if you have not sat through one full cycle of 7 to 10 years, maybe 12 years, you don't know what you're going to get at the end. What you get in the third year, fourth year, fifth year is nice glossy reports printed or on the net. I mean online or printed, and that's it. You have no clue how to deal with it. Well, he had many of these products, and these products were nicely priced at, say, upwards of 2%. Remember, some of these products or many of these products are not even regulated by SEBI. There is nothing you can do if you have put money in a private equity deal and that money is lost, and you think that money you have been cheated, right? Similarly, he had private debt with some builders, and that money was lost, and I was almost suspicious of the person who was doing the deal. But yes, he had that and he had lost money. Had he lost too much? No, he lost maybe about 2-3% of his net worth, but then that's not a small amount of money. Why would you want to lose that? Because good quality debt instruments are available in mutual funds. Why would you go and take risk in debt? And this was done by a manager who had shifted him from a bank portfolio to private portfolio manager, and said, I will manage this for you. I will shift your mutual fund to very low cost or zero cost. So he had these products also. He had some zero cost mutual funds which were direct plans. He had some regular plans, and he of course had these private equity which he was going to lose, private real estate trust, REITs, or not even REITs, this was just some private trust which he had created for real estate. And for debt, he was in the red in all the three, though of course in case of equity he said, no, I think after 3 years when the company does an IPO, I'll make money. It was wishful thinking. Did all this hurt him? Actually yes, because all this put together was about 12-13 crores. This is not small. This is 13% of your portfolio was chucked in expensive, illiquid, unnecessary products for a businessman who was anyway taking risk in his own business, right? So did he need these products? No, to me answer is no. Then the person making his investment, there was not one single person making his investment. He had two bankers and he had this private wealth guy, and he had some rudimentary, some guy who was doing some mutual funds and other investments for him. Basically errand boy with whom he started 20 years back, in the sense, oh, get me this form, fill this up, and that kind of a thing. So he had 3-4 relationships, and the people were not allowed to speak to each other or whatever. There was no one person looking at his portfolio. So fairly obvious, there was no financial planning done. He had just too many folios, and even in his mutual funds, some growth options, some dividend option, right. So that kind of a mess. Even his mutual fund portfolio was a mess. Too much of he had too much of small caps. He had some technology fund which was doing well, luckily. He had 30-40 odd folios. In some his wife was a second holder, in some his wife was a nominee, in some there were no nominees, no second holder, right. All this was pretty messy. So another thing was, because one person had not had a look, there was no connection between some tax planning and his investments. Now these go hand in hand, right. So when you are a person with high net worth, there is no point in taking a dividend option. For nobody is dividend option sensible, but definitely for this person who had a huge, maybe 10, 12, 15 crore kind of regular income from his business, which he was drawing as salary, which he was drawing as expenses. He was drawing expensive cars which were owned by the company, which was his own. So not really too much to see, but yeah, the risk was so high. In his business, he did not have too much of succession planning. In his real life, he had a will which did not include his mother, who was not dependent on him but could be dependent on him at some stage, right. So she was old, she had enough money to live, she was not really dependent, but he was mentally, physically supporting her, making sure that all her payments are being made online, right. So all those things, she had enough money was not a problem, but none of her, she was not even mentioned in the will, right. So something like, if I and my family are killed, the whole thing should go to my mother. No, nothing was, I mean, for 3 of them going out somewhere, they have an accident, his mother wouldn't have got anything. I mean, she could have given it to charity, right. So nothing of that was mentioned. There was no, obviously the person handling did not know how much money, what were the investments which was everybody could do, right. Putting money in an index fund, ETF, or even managed funds, anybody can do, should do. But even this is not advisable for a person who is, say, 90 years of age and does not need even this much of complication. So he had expensive annuities taken, which was absolutely unnecessary. Annuities are absolutely unnecessary for a businessman who's perhaps going to work till 70, and then have enough money just kept in the bank without having to worry about inflation, etc., because he has a huge surplus. When you have a small amount of money, it makes sense to have some kind of money in annuity. For this man, it made no sense at all. His wife was not working, his daughter was about 27-28 years of age, but she was also not earning anything. She was doing a lot of stuff, but she was not making much money. I mean, she was doing painting, she was doing, she even held exhibitions, but not enough to earn money. So which means the cash flow had to be arranged in such a way that if he was not around, somebody had to manage it. This was an impossible to manage portfolio, and one of his advisors was CXO in a mutual fund, and he had hurt him more than good that he could have done, right? So excessive annuities for a person who did not need, to me it makes no sense, because annuities don't pay much commission also. I don't know why annuities were sold, unless the bank had some pressure from the sister organization that look, I have an annuities target. So that could have worked. He had REITs on which he was getting pathetic return. He had no clue what REITs did, but he had REITs, right? So overuse of expensive annuities was there. And then he had no guts to leave them and go somewhere. I said, you need to go to a financial planner, arrange the whole thing in such a way, get rid of some shit that you have. He couldn't access his real estate PMS. His wife could never have accessed it, right? So he had no clue what it was worth at that point in time when he was looking at it, and he put in a big amount. He had put in about 5 crores into it, right? So that was big, and he had no clue how much it was worth now. So don't make such a big mess of your portfolio. There has to be one person who has a complete bird's eye view of what is happening, why you are putting in, why would anybody put in equity, private equity, when your own business itself is such a high risk business. Why wouldn't you invest in the in companies where of your vendors, right? Maybe concentration risk is there because too much of your money is now in your own business and in the vendors capital. Maybe you should check all that, but somebody needs to tell investors that you need a overall one person bird eye view telling you what to do, what not to do, and one person who understands you yourself and the tax implications that you have. What is the point in keeping so much of money in bonds where he was getting interest and paying tax at the highest slab? Makes no sense. Don't do it. Be careful. It's your money. You have to take care. You have to make sure that you understand the taxation as applicable to you, your portfolio, and what this professional manager is trying to achieve. If you don't understand all that, please put all your money in an index fund. Thank you.